We have slipped the leaf into the bag, placed the top on it, which is a piece of 1/8 inch masonite, and applied pressure as we turned on the vacuum press. So therefore we now just need to wait. The vacuum press is automatic. As it senses a little bit of pressure going down for something like, for instance, the leak in the bag or whatever the case may be, it will then turn around and add a little more vacuum, or remove the air, in other words. So now what we're going to do is just wait, and another 6 hours we could take it out of the bag, but since this is evening, I'll leave it alone for the morning, and first thing in the morning, I'll shut off the vacuum press, remove the piece itself, and see how well we did. Normally, you'll find no problems. Occasionally, you'll have a little problem, and at that point in time, we'll figure out how to fix it. But with a little luck, everything will be great. To make cutting the veneer easier, what I've done here is made 2 strips of plywood, just a little wider than the veneer itself. And I take it and put it on the joiner while holding the edges together, and we'll place it across the joiner and get one smooth edge. Then I will take it to the table saw and complete the project. Before we begin to put the inlay around the large tabletops, we may remember we have a rounded corner. So for the black line to go around the rounded corner, we can't cut it. We must bend it somehow. Here I've placed it in some hot water with a little weight on it so we could keep it immersed a bit. And then I will take and lay it up on the tabletop with some pins and let it dry. This way, we'll be able to work on the table without any further hesitation. In the meantime, let us go back to the original leaf that we did and work with that. Let's clean up the edges, let's sand the top just slightly, and see what we've got. We are going to begin by lightly sanding the edge of the table leaf to kind of level off any little glue spot that might occur or where the router might catch. So let's begin. We next check our edge to make sure there's no glue where the router bearing will be traveling, because that will give us an imperfection. There's still a little bit of tape on this side, and we'll remove that and throw it away. Now it's time to router the edge, being careful that we don't split the veneer in any special place. So let's see what we can do. There you have it, a nice clean edge, and it'll be ready for your final sanding when we come to that point. And we're fortunate, the glues were tight and there are no chips. Now let's get back to our big tabletops and place the black inlay where they belong. The best way I found to run this inlay around the edge and keeping it flat, and that's most important. It wants to take and go up on its edge. The narrower side is to tape it down. So here you see one that's taped and it's pinned in place, and now I'm going to show you how to do it so that we can turn around and have the other side the same way. Here we have the other side started. The area itself has been taped to keep it flat. We take a few pieces of tape, tear it off, so that we can bend and keep it tight while we tape it. And that's the key. Bend it and keep it tight. Carefully, doing it carefully, carefully. Keep it tight and flat, and that's important. Keep it flat. While we bend it around the corner, it's almost like you need 20 hands for this little job, but you really don't. It's keeping it flat that's most important right now. Keeping it flat. As you see, it wants to keep springing back. Okay, when you've got it down here, just gently pull on it a wee bit, and that'll tighten it up. Take this section, tie it down. Now let's take a few of the pins. We know over here it's flat at this corner. So let's put our pin right next to where it is to keep it in place. Let's make sure it's flat here with our fingers. And again, right in the corners, let's start pinning it and keeping it in place. Run your fingernail or something around this, flat, and keep it in place. And we'll do this right along the edge so we have a very good bond to the edge and the black maple strip. There you have it. Now we let it dry so that we can in turn take it apart and it will stay in its shape. We will use a little pin or some tape to keep it there while we work our veneer around. So you can see we have a great space where the other one ends. We will take and cut a maple strip in there at a 45-degree angle to each piece of the strip, and unless you're really, really looking, it won't be noticeable. I have now completed the edge banding, and I'm about to glue it down. As you can see by looking at the edge that I've lifted, there's segmented pieces as we go around the corner. What I would suggest is work it out yourself. You can go with a large piece across the entirety and cut your curve and then kind of segment the other pieces. Or as I've done here, I've segmented them in a number of pieces, mainly because it was, I guess, a little easier in the beginning. And it seems to last longer too. So if the grain in the wood moves, we don't have a crack in the veneer. It's a little less of a problem. So you do that your way, and I'll now glue this up and put it in the vacuum bag so that we can have one side of the top completed. We have our tabletop now completed. All the inlay is on. It's been rough sanded. It's ready for the final sanding, staining, and finishing. And this will make a lovely table in anyone's dining room. So I hope you've received enough information during our exhibits that we have shown in the previous part 1 to be able to do this job on your own. And hopefully you will enjoy this for many years to come. Here we have the completed tabletop, finished in the home with the edging on it that we all were looking at as we made it up. You can see the routed edge of the tabletop and the completed veneer. Here we see the completed tabletop, making a lovely addition to any dining room, and I'm sure everyone would be happy to have this particular table in their dining room. So this is what you can do when you take the time to do the inlay on a tabletop.